So I am now officially done with being concerned about Vladimir Putin and his reactions to us giving aid to Ukraine. His willingness to kill innocent civilians, along with our witnessing of just how inept and inexperienced his army really is, means we don't have to kowtow to this man anymore. See, a strong leader would tell Putin he no longer calls the shots. We are no longer going to worry about our potential escalation of this war and only worry about the best way to crush Russia economically, crush them into submission, while the Ukrainians crush them militarily into submission. Today, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky issued a plea to the allied nations of the West. Listen.
Після такого місяця війни це прохання заради наших військових. Після такої війни проти Росії. Більше прошу ніколи не говоріть нам, що наша армія не відповідає стандартам НАТО. Ми показали, на що здатні наші стандарти, як багато ми можемо дати загальній безпеці в Європі і в світі. Але НАТО ще належить показати, що Альянс може зробити для порятунку людей.
Still, he did not ask for membership into NATO, but he did ask for security protections. There was a translation there. I wish we would have used it. It's semantics, okay? Today, after a month of fighting for its existence, Ukraine, in my mind, has earned a spot in NATO. Yes, the Ukrainian army meets NATO standards. Maybe it could take over for the United States that fills most of the NATO force, right? The Ukrainian people are fighting so hard, with so much resolve, that when this war ends, and that is the key, when it ends, we should allow Ukraine into NATO with open arms and not give a damn about what Vladimir Putin thinks. Many of these wimpy, latte-loving European nations should welcome the Ukrainian army into their nation if, God forbid, any of them were attacked. The French army is probably doing sit-ups on yoga mats right now, while the Ukrainians are literally eating Russian nails for breakfast. It is now time the world unify to crush Russia economically. Yesterday, I called for every nation, everyone, to immediately halt all trade with Russia. Not just oil and gas, but all trade. This includes demanding China stop propping up Russia, buying its products, allowing access to its banking system, and the loans that come with it. If China and our allies refuse to get on board, we halt all trade with them. You can't denounce Russia and finance it at the same time. That is unacceptable. Putin's former senior economic advisor backed me up on my calls for a worldwide Russian embargo on goods and services.
I would like to just fully support what you have said before concerning the full stop, full ban and embargo on oil trade with Russia, all financial deals, all proceeds of any kind to Russia, including proceeds from the expecting Iran deal that the U.S. administration is preparing right now.
If other nations are serious, they would do what that man said and what I'm saying. Clearly, we as the United States are not doing anything now. Clearly, whatever Joe Biden is doing is not working. Putin continues his deadly assault against the Ukrainians. He shows no signs of relenting either. Today, the Washington Post reports that Joe Biden's senior military commanders inside the Pentagon are unable to reach their Russian military counterparts in Moscow. For the past month, Russia has been ignoring calls from senior Pentagon military officers. Make no mistake, this would never happen under President Trump. The lack of respect, the lack of fear of American military might is more than cause for concern. The lack of communication between two nuclear-armed superpowers is how wars are started. Putin is clearly angry. We know that. That anger has to be due to his military's failure on the battlefield. Well, it could be turning to desperation. That's what I fear. And as we increase pressure on Putin and the Ukrainians continue to hand them loss after loss, the question becomes, what will Putin do? Will this cold, calculated, some even call him a deranged man, turn to nuclear weapons? And what happens if he does go nuclear. My fear is, as weak as Joe Biden and the rest of the world leaders on our side seem to be acting right now, they may not do anything as long as that bomb is contained to Ukraine. Joe Biden has just shown no resolve to stand up to tyrants like Putin.